Welcome back to Alive Partner TV. I am your host and creator, Dr. Mario Torres-Leon, and this is another special edition of HPS, also known as the Human Power Series. If you have been watching us for a while, you know that every time that we have a special guest for this series, the conversations tend to be extremely powerful. And they're powerful because they highlight and they showcase truly the essence of this episode, which is the power of the human spirit. Today, I am beyond grateful for having with me a very powerful man who I consider an extremely esteemed member of my community, also a mentee of mine inside of the Wanted Men Mentorship Program in the Alive Partner community. His name is Mr. Jahid Wilson Sr. And I don't want to take the wind of his sails because I want him to speak a little bit about who he is and what he has been doing in life, but also what brought him to the shores of our community. I must preface this conversation by saying that Jahid is truly an example of what's possible, particularly for men. When I started this journey of the creation of the Alive Partner community, I had the intention of being able to reconnect men and women, men within themselves, women within themselves, by the power of the feeling body. And Jahid Sr. is a true embodiment of what that looks like. And I am extremely excited, beyond grateful for his generosity, for his time today to share with us the power of the human spirit. Jahid, thank you for being here with us, and welcome to Alive Partner TV, to another edition of the Human Power Series.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. I'll tell you about my story. I know you know it very well. So years prior, but really last year, I was working, really overwhelmed at work. I was stressed, had a lot on my plate, a lot of responsibility. And as I came to a point, I wanted to change. I wanted to do something different in my life. Like I said, I felt overwhelmed at work. It affected my home life as well. Wanted to change, didn't know how to change. Had things with my dad passing away, my mom having health issues, my wife's mom having health concerns as well. This came to a point where being at work, it felt like an anchor was on my shoulders. It felt like I was constantly walking around with just a load of weight on me, and it became difficult to breathe at times. But then it came to a transition in September of last year when I left my job of 16 plus years that I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into. And at that point, I told my wife, Katara, I wanted to change. I had to change. I had to do something different in my life. Didn't know what that meant, though. I just wasn't happy with where I was and wasn't happy with my stress and where I was as a person and where I was going. She had recommended some different meditations. She had been a part of GO28 community in the past, and told me if I was ready for it, I wanted to change. She invited me to join as well. She'd been part of this community for a while in the past and always would talk to me about it, but I wasn't ready to receive it. I felt like I was doing fine in my life and I could take it on and do whatever was coming my way, and just I couldn't. So she invited GO28, made the amazing Dr. Mario and an amazing community of GO28 community members. That's the way I started doing the practice, because I wanted to change. I don't want to go back to where I was before. I did the daily blessings. I did daily gratitudes. I read the books. I started practicing what I learned on a daily basis. It was very challenging for me as a person because I'm not very open with my emotions. I'm very open with Qatar and my family, but not with people I never met before. That was a challenge for me. It was a challenge for me being vulnerable and talk about my past struggles, my past challenges, the things that I've gone through in my life at 53, having a challenge of what I do next with my career, what's next for me with the family. This community really helped me. It was a very supportive community, very embracing, extremely supportive. And as I listened to the amazing people in the community and listened to their stories, I started to open up myself and talk about my struggles and my challenges. And Dr. Morrow challenging me in finding abundance and something to be grateful for in my life every day, and blessings. I started to see a change, and I really embraced it. It took time to get every day and really understand the practices and the meditations and being vulnerable. But I really embraced it. And as I started back in November with the actual official GO28 with the community, I saw a change. I saw a change in how I interviewed. I saw a change in how I dealt with my family. I saw a change in my relationship with my wife, my son, and my daughter. I saw a change in myself because I found something every day to be grateful for. I found a blessing every day to be grateful for. I let go of past challenges, past emotions, past thoughts. I did things I never thought I could do before. Meditate for 15 minutes without any kind of guided meditations, then 25 minutes. And it's just, I'm trying to articulate as best I can to say how amazing my journey was during that time because I saw an amazement beyond belief. It was a situation where I had no job at the time. I'm at home, not sure my next career was. I left a job that I was with for 16 plus years. Not sure what to do next, how my relationship, my family would be affected. And what I found was it just expanded beyond belief. My relationship with my wife, I finally understood and saw and heard her in regards to the things she was saying. My son, my relationship with my son grew. My relationship with my daughter grew. The relationship with myself grew as well. And then as I went through the program and the practice and really just practice the daily gratitude and blessings and really just embrace it and talk to the community about what those blessings were and the daily topic of the day, it's amazing what I started to attract my way. I started receiving more interviews my way. I received multiple job offers, which I never thought I would have at that point, um, just by doing the practice. And then I was fortunate enough to be invited to join the Wanted Mentorship Man program as well. And I've always had mentors in the past in my career. Not that that's what I needed for my career as well. I never had one for my personal life. And funny story, and Dr. Mar, you know about this. You invited me to the program and we were talking and I was all excited. And we talked about the price of the program. So I sat back and I was doing some calculations. I'm like, okay, I have no job. I'm going to join this mentorship program. So I sent you a text. I said, I'm going to join the mentorship program and have my concerns. And as busy as you are, it's like, hey, can we talk? And you're open and we talked and you talked about your past experiences and what you went through as well and how this would be very beneficial for you and what you went through and your journey as well. And I said, I'm going to give it a try. And I would tell you, that was one of the best investments I've ever made. It was one session, I think our second or third session, it was an epiphany for me for, it was one particular obstacle in my life or trauma in my life. I thought I was over. And I was lost of our gym and dealing with that and how I dealt with my job and how I dealt with always wanting to be in my job and not wanting to fail or be going back to losing everything we lost with the gym. And then we're talking about it. We're going through the talks, and I was talking more about it. You're like, you're not over it yet. That's your story. Your story is you lost your gym. And you've held that on so long. You can't let it go. And it was like an illumination. It was like a weight was released. It was like a burden was released. And from that point on, it was like I went forward just a different person. And I truly let it go. As I explained to my wife guitar as well, and she was like, "Well, it was powerful moment for me." So I thought I was over that trauma and that challenge, but I realized everything in my career was based on that. How I went to work, how I never called out, how I didn't want to fail, the pressure I put on myself, the stress affected my family as well. I took so much on myself and couldn't find a way to release it because I never let go of that trauma. It was that one session we had, it just opened up everything for me, and I was like, "Wow." And when I did that, and I really surrendered to that, everything opened up for me. And it was hard to explain. It was we talked about in the GL28 community. I listened to some of the stories. You talked to me about your mentorship program and some of your past mentees and all the amazing things they accomplished. But until you experience it, it's hard to really understand it. And it was overwhelming. And I've been humbled by that journey. I've been humbled by that experience. It is truly amazing to sit now and really think about my journey, where I was this time last year, where I wanted to do a change in my life, where I am now. It's still a journey for me, as we always talk about, and I'm still practicing every day, and I'm still working on those things I need to work on. But it's been powerful for me. Um, just being, I'm truly blessed to be part of this community. I'm truly blessed to be part of the mentorship program and to really be a part of this journey. I've changed in ways I never thought I could or would.
Jahid, thank you for sharing this opening statement, which is it's life changing just to hear a man speak this way. Very, very profound things that you're sharing, particularly about, perceiving yourself in a way that you thought would be the way, and then being challenged kindly and gently to be able to consider other things and then be able to take a step in that direction and then for things to work in incredible ways for you as you're sharing. we'll expand a little more on this. You had a particular condition that is very powerful coming into our community and even before coming to the community, which is that you're married to a woman who is a seeker, a woman who is vested in her development, her growth, as we call here in the community, the expansion, right? The breakthroughs and being a much more developed human being. That's your wife, Kitara. And it is not uncommon in my community to have a lot of women who are in that kind of vein of life, right? That's who they are. That's what they gravitate to. I am married to one of them, just like you. It's a common point for those of us who are men in the Alive partner community. One of the things that really excited me and stimulated me and challenged me to start creating all of this body of work is that many of us, as we have discussed in the mentorship, we can feel left behind at times. Our women are in their journey and they're learning all these different things and so on. And at a point in time, they start telling us about how great things are and you need to change and you need to do this and you need to do that. And the truth is, that is really annoying for men to actually have the women and the woman that we love be telling us that we need to change these things because for us, it lands as criticism or I'm not good enough as a man to be able to take care of my woman and satisfy her from the angle of what she wants to see. And what happens over and over is that it's perceived, it lands for us as men as a very demoralizing state. And then we're kind of doing that dance. And the more we spend in the marriage, in your case, 20 something years of marriage, in my case, approaching 20, then we start to think as men, is this everything there is? Is this the woman that I married and the woman I'll ever see until something happens, whether I die or we split, like in the case of some men that come into the community? And at some point, something really remarkable came out of you. And you said, Mario, I am having a different marriage. And I did not think that that would be possible at this stage of the game. And I'm going to invite you to see if you can speak to that because as men and women, hear you speak about this, Jahid, I know that it's going to bring tremendous amount of light and hope to what's possible because many men are in the conversation of, that's just the way women are. They're all crazy. She's just having a hormonal day. And as you know from our conversations in the mentorship and our program, we never throw anybody under the bus.
Right.
And the conversations are never about the other person and what they're doing to us. It's always going in. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. I mean, so great point, right? In the past, I'm working 6 days, 7 days a week, all these hours in a day, take care of my family, being the support of my family. And Katara talk about some things she did for her own stress and mental and to enlighten herself and so forth. And she recommended times to, hey, it might help you in your situation. I was always, okay, I'm working all these hours. I'm fine. You don't understand. Saying stress what I'm doing for the family and everything else. So we always kind of didn't really connect in that standpoint. Went through a transition, started working in the GO20 community, mentorship program, doing my daily practice, and I understood how to relate to her differently. So instead of coming out of a place of pointing fingers or resentment, it came in place of love and understanding and really hearing what she was saying to me because I understood what that meant now. Because I put the past in the past, and as I worked on myself and the blessings and meditation, and I talked to her about it, we're in the same wavelength now. We're talking about the same thing in the daily gratitude and the blessings. So I really talked to her about some of my concerns and come to a place of, love and understanding, but not critical. And she'd respond the same way. And at the same time, I'd take a step back and ask her, how are you doing? And hear what she was saying. In the past, it was, I worked all these days and I'm working all this time, all this time alone at home, you should be fine. And understand that you have your own challenges and things you're going through as well. My job doesn't oversee what you're doing as well, because we're a team. So as I understood that and we went through the practices and went through the journey and understood myself as well, so I understand myself is important, we related differently. Talking about the same thing. Hey, what are your daily blessings in life? What are your daily gratitudes about? Here's what I'm thankful for. Here's what I'm blessed for. And our relationship just became stronger. I'll give it a morning. And it's funny, I talked to you one of our mentorship programs, and I apologize for jumping around. And I was telling you about one of our mentorship programs and one of our discussions about what I found out in my past trauma and what I'm learning from it. And she stood there in the kitchen as we were talking and said, I'm proud of you.
Mm.
Now I'm proud of you because your job or taking care of the family. I'm proud of you.
that's a profound game-changing moment, right? Because one of the biggest counterintuitives for us men, and you being an African American male, I'm being a Latino male, there's a lot of commonalities in the way that we were raised. In the aspect of men, we don't really display our feelings. We got to really just kind of suck it up or just be strong. And equating the aspect of strength to not emoting, not
Right.
having a human experience. So we learn very early on to suppress and to not show. But the big aha is that in the eyes of our women, especially those who love us, like your wife loves you or my wife loves me, is to really show up where the full spectrum of being human is being gifted to the other person. Granted, this is not language that is natural, inherent to us men. This is not how we talk,
Right.
right? It's it's a whole different foundation when we embark in this journey of doing this kind of work and this kind of growth or this kind of education. Because I don't like to think of this as I have to go to work. It's like, no, if you're alive, things are changing. But if they're not changing in the direction that is creating more of what you want and is creating more of what you don't, then life can become really heavy. Can you speak to your evolution? Because your evolution was dramatic in the most positive ways of how you went from not having that foundation language wise to communicate emotions, which is dying to have. All of the women in this community are, to basically, in a very short amount of time, being able to be exposed to a different way of communicating that just simply sped up the connection with her.
That's funny. We talked about GO28 when I first joined. I remember you saying about not being an active bystander or standing aside, being very involved. So I told myself I wanted to change, and I was committed to changing. So if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it 100%. So I went 100% in. Um, I did the daily practices. I did my magic rock, everything you talked about. I did my videos. I did my postings. I listened. The first thing I did in the morning was I read and I meditated. That was important for me. And I took it as important as anything else. I think it's more important than exercise, which is huge for me. It's the first thing I did in the morning every day. The more I did, the more I saw the benefit of it. And the more I opened up. So when I first started GO20, I never really did video postings. I wasn't very comfortable doing it. And then I remember you responded to a message to me saying, hey, I understand you're not being comfortable. I invite you to share yourself on video, be very supportive, be very powerful. And that kind of encouragement was like powerful for me from another man saying that to me. So I went into it 100%. And you're right, it was something I never did in my life before. I did meditations, but they were just meditate 5 minutes and I meditated. It wasn't anything value added for me. But I never truly understood what blessings and being grateful for really for what you had and being in abundance for what you have in your life until I started GO28. So I went from not ever doing it, never being exposed to it, even though guitar was in my life, I wasn't ready to receive it. And she never pressured me, very supportive and loving. And when I was ready, she was there for me to be 100% because I want to change. And I always say this, and Dr. Moore, I've said this before as well. I don't want to go backwards. I don't go back to where I was because I wasn't in a good place. I want to go forward. I want to change. So I went 100% in. And the more I did it, the more vulnerable I became, the more open I became, um, the more I saw a change. And the more I saw a change, the more I wanted to change. And the more it was hard. It was very challenging at times to do some of the practices, to take a look back at myself and see what my trauma was and what I can do different, to be vulnerable on camera to people I've never really talked to before, met in person. But then after a while, I've been okay with it as well. So for me, it was going 100% in every day, all day, and not missing a session, not missing a meditation, not missing a daily blessing or gratitude. When I started doing that, I started living it. I started believing it. And I started living in the present moment. Because for me, and as you know, Dr. Mario, the big challenge for me was not thinking about the future, not thinking about the past, being still and being present. And that took a while to get there, but I had a lot of help and support to get there as well. And they always tell me, center yourself. Make sure you center yourself before you interview, center yourself every day. And I started doing that as well. And became like a practice, like working out, building my muscles. Same thing with that as well. So I saw evolution over time. And when I started the mentorship program as well, they even added more to it. I was fortunate and blessed enough to have GO28 and the mentorship program as well combined together, along with my wife, Katara. And then my son started doing it as well. And then his girlfriend did it as well. So we did it as a family as well. So I was surrounded by abundance. And even though we had no income coming in, no real prospects out there. I was the happiest I've been in years, and it was amazing to me. And I didn't think about the bank accounts. I didn't think about where we were. I didn't think about what the next interview was coming. I enjoyed the moment and the present time with my family. And that was, for me, was life changing. And it's changed my relationship in all aspects of my family.
Mm. Jahid, you said something which I think it merits deeper exploration because it's really powerful. You were talking about all those feelings that you were having and having to deal with them and bringing gratitude to all of that. But one of the things that it's foundational in our community is to embrace those feelings that we consider negative, ill
Yes.
feelings.
Yes.
That was a new thing for you, as it is typically a new thing for everybody who comes in, where we don't just celebrate the good feelings, but we actually embrace in an even stronger way those that we have been kind of running away from or just rejecting because we know that there's tremendous riches in being able to have the full experience. That is not intuitive for men. We don't talk
Yes.
about those things. We don't go into the feelings. It's like why would I want to go and go back in my past or this and that? As you know, we don't do psychoanalysis here. This is not what it is. This community is about reconnecting with being human, and to be human is
Yes.
to feel. Can you speak to how that changed you? Because you had no context for it as 99.99999% of the men in the planet, we don't know how to do those things. And it's not a reflection of our dads or our grandfathers. No judgment on them. It just wasn't really part of how we evolved. But we know that when we tap into that, life changes exponentially. Can you speak to that? Because that was, as I understand it, and I've witnessed it in you, that really was a dramatic shift for you, especially in dealing with that situation you said about the sense of grief and loss from things that had happened in the past that you thought perhaps they were gone and they had been dealt with, but they just kept on showing up in ways in a very sneaky way for you.
So I'll tell you about one very traumatic for me and Katara. We talked about it numerous times as our moment in our life that changed us. It was the losing of our gym. We had a business out there, didn't do well. Because of the market, whatever else, it didn't do well. So we had to close the business. We went bankrupt. We had to foreclose our house. We lost everything financially. So I was built upon, I don't want to go back to that situation again. So when I went to my job, it was the same situation. I went in 100%, 100% dealing with whatever I had to do with the job, put everything on my shoulders, working tremendous amount of hours. Now, never really escaping from my job, bringing it home with me, going into my room and just kind of like not just being a part of the family because I had so much on my shoulders from the job, not wanting to go back to where we were before, of losing everything again. And as time went on, I did better in my career, we started to move around and income started coming in more. I thought I was over it. Hey, we're in a good place now. What I found was that these past 4 or 5 years, when I was in my last job in that position, and stress and everything else with that, that's in the back of my mind. I didn't want to go backwards of losing everything again. So I'm going to go full in. I'm going to go in and work on these hours. I'm going to call stress on me. I'm going to take care of it because I don't want to fail. And I thought by doing that, I was taking care of my family. Um, I come home, I don't want to speak because you don't understand my day is like. I'm trying to take care of the family and all stress and pressure on me. You don't understand. Give me time to, release and deal with that. And let me get back to myself again. I'll come talk to the family. Or I never asked how Qatar's day was. We get home all day, you're fine. You're not the same as me. I'm at job all day, dealing with all this pressure and stress. But it was until I realized that I never really got over that trauma of losing that. I thought I did. Um, and I felt that I was a failure because of that. And if I did it again, I'd be a failure again. And I don't want to be a failure again. I want to take care of my family because that's my job, take care of my family. So that means I'm putting everything on my shoulders. I'm finding a way to get it done, no matter whatever else. And if my wife and I don't talk for a couple of days, that's fine because you understand I'm working and take care of our family. Well, until I realized that one trauma has affected me the past 20 years in one way or another. And as I thought about each job situation, each moment in my life, each stress, the pressure put on myself, the mountain of boulders on my shoulders that I carried around for so long, it was because of that one moment. When I finally realized that and I was able to recognize that, I was able to understand it, forgive myself and move on, it just opened up everything. I felt like I was lighter. Um, I wasn't angry anymore. I didn't become resentful because I had to work these hours, everything else, and you didn't. And my wife and kids were at home. Then I was able to ask my wife how she was doing and really relate to her and understand that because I have a job that's no more important than what you're doing. My stress is no different from yours. It's just different. and we bonded differently. And then we talked and related. And I was able to open up to her and, hey, by the way, I feel this, or I feel this way, or I'm in this moment now, and what you did affected me this way. It became out of not of anger, out of love. We were able to relate that way. Same, open up the same to her. And then we connected more. It wasn't always just about, loving moments, which is important. It's about things that we didn't particularly like or didn't appreciate at the time, but we did it in a loving way. And which we related to each other. How are you feeling? What are you going through now? How can I support you? Um, my son as well. He was working on his book and he was having some challenges getting it published. He was feeling a certain way, and I sit down and talk to him and really relate to him. And he said the same to me as well, as my wife did in the past, that he never thought he'd see me meditating or having a mentor or going through GO28. He was proud of me. Second person said the same thing to me because I came from a place of understanding as well, because I had no more resentment in my heart about wanting to fail again. I let that go. I let that burden go. And I think one thing was great in our mentorship program was you would tell me, hey, you're a failure, and you would say this and those things. Get out there in the open. Let's talk about it. Your job doesn't define you. Your job doesn't define who you are as a man. And you always say the same thing about we as men, which is true, but that we take care of our family and we relate our worth to our jobs. And then when I understood that and did the connections to that and understood it wasn't about my job and putting my worth to my job, everything else changed for me. And then all of a sudden now, jobs started coming. It was just amazing. It's all happened at one time. And I was in a situation where I was having to sit down with you and say, I have a conflict right now in my life. I'm not sure which job to take. You did great practice with me about, break it down in categories. What's absolute must, what's nice to have, absolute not, and then categorize them. But it was absolutely amazing to me. And I was like, wow. But until I got to that point to be able to how I value myself and value my worth, and then let go of the trauma of the past, recognize I had it, look at the negative aspect that I was affecting my life, and then move on as well, and then don't go back there anymore. So it really, really changed me from that standpoint.
If you're joining us today, this is a live Partner TV with Dr. Mario Torres-Leon, and today we're having a special episode of the HPS, or the Human Power Series, with my very special guest, Mr. Jahid Wilson Sr. If you have been listening to what this man has been sharing, there is just no way that one can't be moved by what he's sharing. What Jahid is talking about is not unique to him. There's millions, if not billions, of men across the planet that we have felt exactly what he has been sharing. The fear of failure, the fear of losing our identity and not being able to provide for our families and being less in front of our families in the eyes of our women because of that. He's been talking about something that is profound, which is when we have an experience that we have internalized as truly traumatic and marking us, and us giving it enough power to mark us for the rest of our lives. And to feel that we're failing, that we'll never get out of that rut, that we'll never be able to have a different kind of life. Jahid, your story, it's amazing because it is a story of redemption. And it has been because you took all of this in so powerfully and you completely shattered the pattern of being defined by the past. Number one. Number two, you broke the pattern, not just for yourself, but for generations in your family and for all of us who are watching this, to rewrite the story from a very different angle. The angle that the worth, the value is me as a human being. Nothing gets produced in the world unless human beings produce it. The worth is an inner worth, but that's not something that is a natural conversation for us men, for guys to have amongst ourselves. Right? And then we get to, middle-aged men and we're going through the midlife crisis. Perhaps there's not enough in the bank account as you thought there would be. Perhaps there's not as many accolades as you thought you should have had by whenever, according to, I don't know who. Then we take all of that stuff in. And our families, they suffer from it. They see us suffer. And we neglect the greatness that lives within us. You, in your journey, have been able to unleash the power of really giving men hope by a real story. For all of you listening to the show, it is not easy for a man or a woman, for that matter, to say, I had a business, I lost it all, I didn't think that I was going to be able to get out of it. Saying those things is not easy by any standard. But then when we see the examples in society of people who've actually gone through that hero's journey, or been down at the bottom and then basically going through and being able to speak to it the way you are doing it, Jahid, it changes the game for all of us who listen to it. The amount of power that there is behind that is just, bow and praiseworthy. It is, right? Because this is not how we're taught. For a man to even acknowledge these things and to talk about these things and even mention the word vulnerability. In the Wanted Men Mentorship Program, we learn to go beyond that. Can you speak to what happens in that container in the Wanted Men Mentorship Program? Because this has been as you said, you took it on. It was not me. You showed up 100,000%. I'm going to say not 100%, 100,000. Like playing big, like capital B, capital I, capital G. Huge. Like if this was the last day of my life, I'm going to show up fully. Like if it was the first, like I'm fully alive. You did that. What was that inside of the Wanted Men Mentorship Program when you started to really see like, okay, I don't think this is just luck here. I got lucky today. Let's see what happens tomorrow now. Right? So suddenly it became like this chain of events. Talk to us about that.
So yeah, absolutely. So like I said, I had the pleasure and blessings of being invited to the Wanted Mentorship Program. Didn't know what to expect. I've had mentors in the past in my job. I've talked to you on numerous occasions. But it's first for coming in, just first thing is, centering ourselves, becoming present in the moment, having a discussion. And then how am I showing up to the session? What do I need? No one ever asks, a man what he needs. What do you need? What can I do to help? Then at the same time, it's just talking about, hey, I'm gonna have a real discussion with you about some things, have some real, topics right now. For me, in this individual person, how you go through the session, where you're right now, you equate your worth and your value to your job. That was a big thing for me. And you saw it right out. You called me on it. Your value's not based on your job. Your value's not based on, your title, what you do. And at the same time, it was just having a discussion about, we talked about the past. Talked about being vulnerable and, having equanimity for those in my family as well. That was huge and big. And then you would challenge me on things I would say. It was one, I mean, we had one session I thought was all been very powerful. One, you calling me out, you said words are powerful. I think I made a comment about I'm having an amazing week so far. You said I'm gonna stop you because words are powerful. You have an amazing week so far, you have an amazing week. What you say in this room translates outside the room as well. So words are powerful. And I took it I repeated that to those close to me. Words are powerful. So that meant a lot to me. I think for me in the mentorship program, it's really been impactful for me just from the standpoint of helping me continue to grow, helping me find vulnerability, helping me talk to another man about things and being okay with being vulnerable and not seeing it as weakness. Being okay when you throw the word out there, failure, and not think you're a failure. And then to me, helping me or assisting me in understanding my past trauma, I wasn't over it yet. Really understand that past trauma, how that impacted my life professionally and personally as well. And then let it go and move on because that was my story for so long. Let it go and move on. And then you open up and more will come to your way. And whenever I had a conflict in regards to, myself or a decision I wanted to make, just help me understand what's the best direction to go with that decision, right? The job situations. It was one comment we had a discussion on. You made a comment that I took on going forward. He said, "Do you think you are valuable?" The answer to the question is, "Do you think you're valuable?" And I took him into answer and said, "You are valuable. You are a extremely powerful and valuable man."
Yes, you are.
And I took that in every interview I went in and every discussion I had. It changed everything for me. So that for me, that was very powerful. Just having that discussion and talking about how, me going through the process is, just enhancing my relationship with my family, being that leader of my family and showing them more coming this way. Not by having a job and, in your mind, take care of your family because of that, but what you're doing here as well, how it translates. And the more I became open to my feelings and understanding of that as well, the more free I became. And the more open, to me, I felt stronger. And it wasn't just about physical strength, it was just strength. Because for so long, I felt that I had to prove myself. either my job or an interview or something else. I had to prove myself. But then I walk into a situation where I'm bringing value to you. I am valuable walking in, and it changed my whole mindset. Mindset was a huge change for me in this process. Um, Even how I went into dealing with conflict with people or conflict with situations I'm going to fall back up again. I went in with gratitude and blessings. It's amazing how it became less of a conflict. I had one example I talked to you about where I was on the phone with a lady helped me in IRS about a situation with our business account, and it took 2 hours, and I was very grateful. She was very patient with me. And I told her, I kept saying thank you, and I'm very grateful for you. And you made a comment when you start being grateful and being blessed and being having abundance, you attract that to you as well. And she was very kind. And you hear so much about IRS and other people like these kind of um, jobs, but she was extremely kind and pleasant. And I told her, thank you. I really appreciate you. And I meant it too. So um, going through the mentorship program for me just has been illuminating for me. It's opened me up, and I'm glad I'm going to continue to practice going forward in the sessions. The way I was thinking about men in regards to emotions and being weak, I would challenge and say I think men and emotions make you stronger.
No question. And when men show up in this way, displaying also our range of emotions, which run very deep for us, it moves our women. It opens the women, anchors them to relax in their essence because they can trust us more. This man is going to the depth of who he is.
Right.
And we would think that doing that would actually turn off the woman. Like, oh,
Yes.
why would I should be showing that side to her? No, because
Right.
she really knows that that runs through us. It's within us. They've been dying to see it, but we have been hiding it because we don't know any better.
Yes.
Now, going back to GL28, when you go into the 28-day gratitude launchpad, and you've gone now through multiple cycles of it, which is
Yes.
super powerful. What has happened to you because of that? Because it's completely shifted the way you operate now on a daily basis. And we've done it all virtually with our community from people from all over the world, which may seem like a strange thing to do, especially for men, right? I mean, we should be showing up ourselves. What has that been like, and what has allowed you to actually want to open like that? What conditions in the community have really given you permission as a man?
So I would tell you, some very powerful members of RGO 28, all of them, very vulnerable, extremely supportive. It's a very supportive community. And I remember doing my first cycle, and I was very open about it just being my first time, and everybody's very supportive. The comments, the postings, hearing their stories. Have you seen in the community? You know, when you make a comment, even a like or a heart makes you feel like, oh, they are seeing me and recognizing me. And then the comments back and forth. You never feel that you're being judged. You never feel that um, you never feel a certain way about being vulnerable. You feel accepted in the community. And then when they open up as well, they're vulnerable about their challenges and their traumas, and they're very open. And it's powerful to see that people have those members to be that open and talk about their challenges and to see their struggles as well. And I'll see their growth and improvements and all the wins they have in their lives as well, just from the daily gratitudes and blessings as well. So it's an extremely supportive community. I can't explain that enough or um, communicate that enough. It's extremely supportive. Every day is a message that comes out. And this somebody has something to say about that particular day's message or how it affected their lives or do a video or just a posting. And we do it as well. People are commenting as well. So for me, it was easy to be vulnerable over time because people are very supportive. Just not my wife is part of the community as well, but everyone else in there as well. And then you get on our Zoom calls. We have a healing sessions and get a chance to hear their stories, and you become um, excited, you become invigorated, trying to find the right words. Just all those emotions that come with um, hearing their stories as well, because everybody has a story to tell. So I think for me, it was just I was never big on being part of a community. I thought I could do it on my own, and that wasn't working for me. Being part of the community is part of the change I've seen these past 8+ months.
That's really powerful. One of the things that I like to think of when I think about the Alive Partner community is truly a home for humanity,
Yes.
a home for humanity. And I really mean that very sincerely and humbly because we get to co-create together a safe space and place to be human. I just don't know of other places where I can go in my life outside of the way I relate to my wife, for example, to be able to have, a virtual home to be human.
Yes.
And I really believe that our community has become that, a home for humanity. The second thing that has become apparent, and it's a premise, as you know, of the work that we do in our community, is that gratitude plus feeling equals healing.
Yes.
And it may seem like a really simple thing, especially when we talk about gratitude, because people come with the notion that we're just going to teach them how to say thank you and be polite. But as you know, Jahid, from practicing it at a very deep level, it's human to feel the gratitude of things. And when we bring that in, it just changes your experience of everything. We talk a lot about stopping the negativity loop in our community, right? And so on. Jahid, as we transition into a different part of the gathering today, can you please speak to what is happening now in your life after you have had multiple cycles of GL28, specifically about one area, which I think for men is very important. Many of us aspire to be leaders in our lives, whether it's in our household if we're married, in our families if we're not, in the workplace if we are business leaders, we want to do that. In your case, you have had a long track record of being in management positions where you are, leading a team of members to be able to create whatever the goals are. We really, as men, that speaks to us deeply. But very often when we are not experiencing that we're being seen, or we are not experiencing ourselves as truly embodying that leader that we fancy ourselves of being, it can be really demoralizing. And one of the things that became evident throughout the mentorship has become evident, and then throughout the multiple cycles of GL28 that you have been actively participating in and been so generous with others inside of the space, is that you have really stepped into a different kind of leadership role as you have experienced it. Can you speak to that? Because men and women alike, we're listening to this, we're really wanting to evolve and take that leadership role from a different angle, the way you have, which is very inspiring, will be shifted by your perspective about how you conceive of and approach leadership now.
So absolutely. So going through the program, GO28, working on my own self-growth. I think about leadership, I'll start with my family first. So when you have challenges or obstacles in your life, or you have those things that are maybe perceived as negative, how you can handle those challenges, obstacles, overcome them, how you face them, to me shows leadership. So in that transition of me looking for employment, I was looking to sell our second investment property, all things we have going in our life, interviewing for jobs. The fact that I can come in every day and be grateful for what we have out there and show my family that all these different challenges, obstacles, focuses didn't change me in regards to how I show up every day. And I think I had a conversation with my son in regards to when I talked about interviews and I talked about where we were with next steps and the possibility of, relocating. I think you come in a place of gratefulness and abundance in your life, it illuminates those to others. And it shows that different leadership. Didn't have to have a job to show leadership, but how I showed up every day and how I showed up as a person. And I related to them as well. To me, just kind of led the family, okay, and saying, dad can do this and dad is showing this, I can do the same thing as well. And then as I went to interviews and I came out of it and opportunities started coming our way, or we had other challenges come our way. The first thing I would say is I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Thank you for today. How are you doing today? How's your day? I think for me, leadership came from a part of first being humble and grateful for who I am, not letting the negativity affect me, and continue to show growth in my life as well. And then saying thank you. Thank you for whatever's in our lives, being grateful for whatever was ever in our lives. I think because we all have those challenges and obstacles in our lives. So we also have something in our life that's going to be, can become overwhelming at times. But I think how you embrace that and how you deal with those challenges and how you, to your point, you always say how you show up every day is an example for your family as well. Now I transition to my new role again, and my new company and my new job, still leadership position, leading a large team. And I walked in with knowing my value and just being grateful for the opportunity, being grateful for the people I'm going to meet and work with, and really wanting to know them as people as well, understand their challenges, and coming from a place of wanting to work as a team and work in improvement together, getting to know me as well. And they've responded this past 5+ weeks in a positive way because you come across a place of gratefulness and humility. Um, what I've learned in this process, Dr. Mario, and really learned in this time from November to now, as I started GO28 officially, is that what you illuminate and what you attract to you is a different light that comes out. It's a different vibe, as my kids say, that come out as well. That attracts, I can tell they feel that when they relate to me. In the past, it was different. It's always, sometimes you feel like a little conflict because you came across as with a certain mindset when you talk to a person or a situation. Now it's different. You come from a place of gratefulness and abundance, and you come from a place of being open and being happy with yourself as well, being grateful for what you have and abundance around you. I truly believe that people sense that and feel that, and they relate to you differently. It's amazing because I think that right there defines leadership. They lead from the abundance that you're showing, that the gratitude you're showing, that what you're the light that that you're shining is leading them in a certain direction, either at home or at work. A lot of relationships have changed dramatically from the person I met for the first time to those in my life for years, just by going through this process. So it just, I mean, because I've been in leadership a long time, I would say 20+ years, close to 25. It's probably the first time I felt this way, where I walk into a room which is being grateful and abundant and having a value. And I've established relationships extremely fast, but it comes out of genuineness as well. I think they feel that as well because I genuinely care about the people I'm talking to and I'm interacting with, and I'm making judgment of what I see or what I hear, being open and being grateful for that as well. And then circling back when it's a miscommunication, a misunderstanding, and coming to a place of humility, then not showing weakness, but showing strength, saying, "Hey, let's work together with this." So it's truly changed that aspect of it as well. I mean, it's been an amazing time in my new job and dealing with my new team here and new environment. It feels extremely different than my past 20+ years.
It's so powerful what you're saying, and I can't thank you enough for sharing this stuff because this is really what the work is, and what you're talking about, as you know from the mentorship, is heart centeredness. Right? It's a heart set that we talk about in the Life Partner course, which is part of the mentorship program, and that's exactly what you incorporated, and it's changed your life radically. As we're coming to the end of the gathering here, Jahid, many men feel very disheartened by the progressive disconnection from their women, from their wives, from their significant others, in some cases from their children, but especially the wives, the significant others, as the course of the relationship, the length of many of years you've been together goes on. Intimacy changes, sexual life changes, becomes dull. It's just kind of like going through the motions. And this is something that we see a lot in my community with the men and the women really remarking about these things and wanting support with, which I completely understand. But something that also happened in your life is that you have rekindled in a really powerful, special way with your wife, the love of your life, as you call her, and I know it is for you. I feel it, I know her, and I know it's true. But I also know it's true that when you said that and you've continued to build on that, it's true as well. It's almost like it's given, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like a second win or a second life to your marriage. Can you speak to that? I don't want to be putting words in your mouth. And you've had a really powerful experience with that because this will really give a lot of hope, real hope, honest hope for men and women listening to this conversation to see themselves in you and what's possible when, especially when us men tap into what you have, which is 10 dimensions above what most men do, what we have been taught to do, and what we think is the right thing to do, especially after so many years of being with somebody.
Yes, I was disconnected from my wife, um, and I was closed off, um, just because of the weight of the world on my shoulders. I wasn't willing to open up, and we weren't connecting. And I realized that as I was going through the program, and it wasn't until I started becoming grateful, and going through the program, really focusing on the change within myself, that we started to connect. Because when she talked about you not hearing me in the past, I understand what she meant. I hear you. I'm paying for the bills. I'm going to work. I mean, that's you at home. I mean, you're being taken care of, but I wasn't taking care of her because I wasn't hearing her. We weren't connecting. We weren't on the same wavelength. Um, I really can articulate some of my wants, um, and desires or challenges, and she could do the same to me. It wasn't that it was there, but it wasn't there to fully as it should have been. But it wasn't until I went to the program and to the GO28 and to the mentorship program that I could open up and have those conversations. And she saw a change in me. She felt a change in me, and we connected. We could sit and have a conversation, and I heard her, and I saw her, and I felt what she was saying, and she felt understood, and she felt um, seen and heard, and it changed everything. It changed how she related to me. She changed how she saw me. It changed how we related to each other. It changed how we had conversations. Even when we had conflicts or disagreements, it changed how we related to each other in regards to those disagreements and conflicts, and how we overcame those as well. The biggest thing you always say in GO28, don't use I feel like, but I feel. We started using those as well, and then it became different because for so long we both held things inside for so long because we didn't want to communicate to it, didn't know how. It just felt like we are going to hold on to it. It just became anger and frustration and resentment. But now we can relate. Nothing get held inside anymore. We can have a good conversation. We can relate. It's amazing how it's opened it up. Just and then intimacy and the relationship just became more natural. Never became forced because we had a true connection.
So extremely powerful. And I appreciate you sharing that because I know that men and women listening to this will be deeply opened by your share. Jahid, as we're coming to a closing, one of the things that I get asked often by people who are becoming aware of the existence of our community and our experiential journeys that we offer is, would GL28 be for me, or would the Wanted Men Mentorship Program be for me? What do you have to say about that?
So a year ago, this time, and years before this time as well, I wanted to change in my life. I was stressed. I was overwhelmed. Life became overwhelming. I wanted to change something different. GO28 in the mentorship program helped me achieve that. I would tell you that I did things in the GO28 and mentorship program I thought I'd never do, but I was committed to change. I'll tell you that, and I understand that sometimes people see these things and say, will it work for me, or are these just stories? These are true, and I lived it. I'm living it. I put the work in. I put the time in. It's amazing what it does for you and for yourself, your relationships at home and relationships at work as well. I think GO28 from a community standpoint of just being the support system there, such a strong community. Dr. Mario sends his messages out every day. You get so much out of it, and you really grow from it as well. You really see how much to be thankful for in your life you have, how much abundance you have in your life, and how grateful you are to have the things in your life. And as you write the daily blessings down every day, your gratitudes every day, you really realize how much you have in your life, and it changes you overall. The mentorship program was huge for me because I wanted a mentor in my life for so long for my career, not knowing that what I really wanted for my personal life that could lead to my career. There were things that happened in the mentorship program that really just helped me understand what some of my trauma was holding me back, with some of my things in my life that could help me grow as well. So I would say it's extremely life-changing. I can't explain it enough. And I've told Dr. Martin this in the past and tried to articulate how do you explain it to others and how beneficial it is. I would say it's extremely beneficial. So much to me that my wife is doing it and my son is growing as well. So extremely beneficial in my life. And I continue to go forward as well. I'm going to join the next cycle with GO28 because I think it's that powerful for me. I don't want to stop because you start seeing change in your life, you don't want to go backwards. It's really amazing what this community and this program can do for you.
Thank you so much, Jahid, for sharing that. If you're joining us, this is Alive Partner TV, and we've been having another special edition of HPS, a Human Power Series, with Mr. Jahid Wilson Sr. Jahid, is there anything else that you would like to share that we might have not discussed, or it's coming to your awareness that you would really want people to know about? Up to you.
I want to change in my life. It took me years to get to this point. Really blessed my son at 24 is doing it now. This helped change me. And I've seen and experienced so much abundance and things I never thought could happen in my life. It is truly amazing when I sit here and I reflect every morning when I get up, just to be humbled by what I'm experiencing right now. It is truly overwhelming at times to experience what I'm experiencing. I don't want to say it's a miracle, but it's truly a blessing. And I would encourage anyone that is truly wants to have change in their life to join this community, this program. That means that from the heart.
Thank you so much for your generosity and being so powerful and candid, honest, transparent, raw, and vulnerable with all of us today. You've been watching a Life Partner TV. This is Dr. Mario Torres-Leon, and I've had a really special guest today that I'm profoundly humbled and grateful for his generosity, and it's Mr. Jahid Wilson Sr. Jahid, he really has been a powerful, powerful community member. He has taken the bull by the horns, as we say, but more than that, he really has transformed not only his life, not only the life of his family, but the lives of the people who are part of this community who've been on the receiving end of his really powerful and vulnerable shares as a man. Jahid, I am in so much gratitude for you, so much respect and admiration for your courage, the willingness that you've had to really transform your life and to believe that it was possible for you. You did it. You continue to do it in incredibly powerful ways. And more importantly, your immediate family is benefiting from it in such massive ways because of the grounded state that you're living in, so anchored. And that's also spilling over into your professional life, which you've transcended in incredible ways. I know that there's always reluctance for men to say the word miracle, but as you know, I'm no stranger to danger, and it is miraculous. And I completely honor that. Thank you for being here with us. As I like to say every single time that we finish one of our shows, if you've liked this content, please follow us or leave us a comment. But more important than any of that, if this gathering with Jahid has transformed your life and really resonated deeply with you, there may be someone or somebody's in your life who may be going through things that are similar to part of his journey, part of Mark's journey, or your journey. Please go ahead and share that in a really generous way with those people. Why? Because you may be the catalyst of change for that person's life to be better. You are the one who's actually bringing that change into their lives. And that makes the world a better place. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for your generosity of your time. And Jahid, thanks again for being here with us and being so generous. And I can't wait to continue to see you inside of our community with your contributions. Can't wait to continue to hear the amazing things that continue to unfold for you every day. And until that time, so long.